Kristina Babcock with Clackamas County. So let me share my screen here. All right. Dale, are you seeing my screen?
I can see it. Yep.
Okay. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to use the City of Sandy's account. So in terms of starting a route, everything with starting a new route and stops and all this type of stuff starts in configuration. So in the configuration tab is where you have vehicles, drivers, routes, head signs, and so on and so forth. So if a new route is wanted to be started, what you need to do is come over here. These are the current routes that are obviously in service. They have Clackamas Town Center, Demand Response, Estacada Village Shuttle, Mount Hood Express, the Sandy Local, and Gresham Express, and then the Shopper Shuttle. So if we wanted to start a new route, we would click New Route. And we would name it whatever we want to. For purposes of this, I'm going to name it the test route. We're going to give it a color. Everybody does color schemes differently. For this one, I'm going to just do black, and then you pick the text color. If we're going to do a dark color, I usually pick white. If it's a lighter color, I normally pick black. We don't want it enabled for NTD reports included in the GTFS feed or shown on a public map for right now because it's a test route. If you click these, then they'll show up as active. So we hit add the route.
And Kristina, the short name and route description, would you fill those in as you're building this route out? And what information would you put in there?
It's going to depend on the agency for, hold on, let me see if it's going to save first. For like Sandy, their Clackamas Town Center route is the name of the route. And for short, it's CTC, Clackamas Town Center. That's what generally you use short names for, or SAM for Sam, MHX for Mount Hood Express. This is going well. Okay, so you see this test route now down here that I created. The short names you can see over here. So like if we pull up one of them, like the Mount Hood Express, you'll see the short name there. I'm not going to name the test route anything, but that's what it is. So if you're creating a route that already has segments designed for it, you would use this list down here to select segments that you would want to add to your route. In this particular case, we don't have any segments because we haven't created a route yet. So the next step would basically be to come over here and create segments. Same thing. We're going to do a new segment, and we can either make it a loop or we can make it like eastbound, westbound, northbound, southbound. So a couple different things. If you make it eastbound, westbound, we're learning that it shows up nicer on GTFS feeds than loops do. Loops in general are easier to manage just in terms of like most of our vehicles run in, like the Shopper Shuttle runs in a loop. And so you make it a loop. But when we talk about like Sandy to Gresham, it's set up as a loop right now, but technically it should be set up from Sandy to Gresham and then another loop or another segment from Gresham to Sandy. They just show up nicer on GTFS. That's really the benefit of that. Okay, so in this particular case, I'm going to make it looping and I'm going to just name it the test route loop. Again, I don't want anything showing in Passio Go, so I want to unselect that. I'm going to make the colors the same as I made the route because that just makes sense to me. Not going to show it on the public map for now, not going to include it on the GTFS feed. All of this stuff at this juncture, I leave alone. I don't give it a GTFS ID or anything like that. And I hit add segment.
And are you not filling that other stuff in because this is a test account, or if you were building an actual account, would you have filled that stuff in?
Well, it will depend on the agency and what they have in place. So if we look at like the Mount Hood Express segment as an example, You do need a GTFS ID. If you're using head signs, you want a head sign name, you're going to want a shape ID. And then if you have AVA announcements, you would select all of that type of stuff. Depending on the agency, they will have some of that or won't have all of it. It really depends on the agency. Okay, so you see my test route loop right here, just showed up. And it's basically, exists of nothing. So the first thing that I want to do is so what I did is click on the white space in between here, and that brings up the scheduling. I want to come over here and I want to this down arrow and I want to click manage versions. And I want to click on the original and I want to put it into draft status. And I put it into draft status so that it doesn't show anywhere for any reason at any time. Okay, and I'm going to save it. So anything that I'm doing isn't going to show to the public. It isn't going to show on Andy and Muna's end because it's an inactive route. Okay, so we have a job. We have a route, I should say, right here. And we have a segment. Okay, so now if we go back to the routes, you're going to see that I can add my test route segment that I just created to this route. Okay, so created the route and then created the segment. Okay, my segment, when I go to segments, is going to show inactive because I put it into draft status. So I got to go find it here. Okay, so now we want to edit this and make it an actual route and decide what stops we want. So you're going to hit the globe here. And the globe is going to bring this up and it's going to show nothing because it doesn't, not doing anything right now. And so we're going to want to start adding stops. So we're going to, at the very bottom, lower left-hand corner, you're going to hit add stop. We're going to hit new service and we're going to make this up as we go along. So let's just say we're going to start at Clackamas Town Center. So we're going to click on Clackamas Town Center and drag that stop over to the left. And basically we will continue doing all of that all the way through. So I'm just going to pick some stops here. We're going to do Highway 26 and Reuben Lane. Go to the Operations Center. Go to the Transit Center. And we'll go to Road and Highway 26. So for now, let's just say that that's what I put in there. And what you'll do is leave them there and you'll exit out and then you'll come back in to the globe again. And what you have is this kind of like weird triangle. And what it is it's identified all the stops. So it's saying Clackamas Town Center, Sandy Transit Operations Center, Highway 26, Sandy Transit Center, and then Welch's, right? Now, if we think about this as a loop and it's going to leave Clackamas Town Center, it's going to travel eastbound and then it's going to come back westbound. That's how we're designing this particular route. So after it leaves Welch's eastbound, it's going to have to come back to Welch's Road westbound and so on and so forth. So we're going to go back in here and change service again. And what I would do is go pick my Welch's westbound stop and add it. And then I would pick the Sandy Transit Center. And actually, I'm going to do something here in opposite order so I can show you guys what happens. I'm going to pick the Operations Center on first by accident, and then the Transit Center, and then the Safeway. And then back to Center. Okay, so now If I exit out and I go back into the globe and I hit reset route path, what it's going to do is it's going to basically give me my eastbound and westbound. But you notice in here, like the lines get kind of crazy, and the lines get crazy because I have stops out of order, and I did that for illustrative purposes. But if you click on these stops on these little black dots, right, they have the name of them, and you can see that in the way that I designed it on the back end, I had it going from the from Welch's, which is all the way back here. I should have picked a closer stop. Sorry. I had to go in from Welch's right here, all the way back to the operations center, and then coming back to the transit center, which is why we have this line that goes like all the way this way and we look like we're zigzagging. So if you did that, then you would hit edit, stop, and order, and you would put these stops back into the correct order, and you'd hit reset route path, and then some of the lines would be removed in a way that the movement actually is making sense between stops. So that's, I mean, that's your basic route. So what I would do then was I would come in here to this test route, and it pulls up the schedule, and all these X's are meaning that we're going to skip these stops, which we don't want to do. And it's how the program defaults. So we want to come in here and click on these X's and delete all these X's out of the schedule, so that they actually are going to show as stops on this route. Refresh it. So sometimes you got to do some refreshing in here to make changes stick. And like you see, it didn't stick. So we'll try again. It's still not working. So I'm going to go up here to the old view and click where it said click here, and then click on this test route, hit yes, and I'm going to clear these out this way. Just the old version of it. And sometimes the old version works better than the new version. So now if I go back in here, all the X's are removed.